Episode 008. Nothing to do with Andrew Johns. Shouldn't be an Immortal.
Big red. Straight out of the box.
Yeah. Should have been Alfie.
Well, if he's not the greatest player of all time, he's on the podium.
Definitely. Definitely in the party stakes too.
So it should be an Immortal. That's what you're saying.
Definitely. 100%.
How are you, mate?
Good, good.
Good to be here, back in the sweat box.
It is. Why is it so warm?
Very
I thought it was
warm,
going to
isn't
start cooling off in here.
You still haven't got aircon in here?
I haven't got a beer either. You want a beer this week?
No, I'm on the coffees. Thanks,
Still
mate.
off it.
Yep. Still off the drink.
Don't
How was your weekend?
Yeah, not too bad. Went to a party.
Went to a party.
Talk about beer. I went to a party on Saturday night, had a 4X bottle top birthday cake.
Did you?
Sensational.
How was that?
It's good.
Can't beat a 4X.
You could
Terrible pour.
Hopeless.
So, mate, it seems like weeks since we went up there Thursday night to Suncorp to watch the Titans.
Thankfully.
Yeah, it was a long way to go and watch them get beaten again.
What do they say? When you're winning, you always find a way to win, and when you lose, you find a way to lose.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just that they just don't have the polish to finish it off, do they? And we commented on the forward pass when we were there watching it live, and we actually had a pretty good seat.
Sounds like sour grapes, but there was a solid 3 metres forward. Also, the obstruction try that got pulled back of, I think Cartwright went over.
Yeah.
They talk about inside shoulder, outside shoulder. He caught the ball on the outside shoulder of his own player, but they said, because the decoy runner hit the outside shoulder of the defending player, but it was two players that way. I think I'm not a fan, but
it seems like that rule just gets benefit of the doubt on every play now.
So we won't go sour grapes.
It
was the Titans to lose and they lost it, essentially.
They had the chance. I mean, the first half they played good. They went in with the lead and as I say, just didn't have the polish in the second half. But
stress finally showing on Garth Brennan's face.
Yeah, he's got to be under some pressure.
Soft. Called his team soft and stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was high hopes at the start of the year. They had a pretty good list. Very good front row. Obviously, a couple of halves back together, but definitely haven't delivered. Anyway, what do you think of the Magic round overall?
Good concept. I do like it. I thought the crowds would be better. I think the Titans and Sharks got dudded by playing a game on their own on the Thursday night. It made, people that watched it on the telly said, there was a few there, wasn't there? We were there. It was very empty. Well, and the crowd wasn't really pumped up.
I mean, a local team an hour down the motorway, like you say, probably should have been on the weekend.
Yeah.
Because reality is guys on the Gold Coast finish work at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
They're pressed to get up to the game for a 7:30 or 7:40 kickoff.
Well, it was midnight before I got home.
Yeah.
After dropping some people
off.
And then you got
back
to front
to
up
work
for work on Friday. Yeah. I don't know. At Seabus that would have been a half decent crowd, but at Suncorp it looked terrible, which understandable. But I think if you're going to do that Magic round, it should just be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or something like that. Didn't feel like they were doing a lot to pump up the atmosphere either. It was the ground was quiet. There wasn't a lot going on in the.
Yeah, it probably wasn't a great atmosphere.
I don't want to sound negative. I like the concept. I hope they do it again. But
I think they said today that the total crowd numbers for the 8 games was 150 odd thousand. So you wouldn't say that.
What would it be on a normal weekend?
Well, what's capacity there? 45, 48,000?
52.
50,000. So, I mean, the Broncos on a Friday night against a good side.
Normally get about 45.
45, yeah. So, 150 over 8 games. Admittedly, it's, 4 days? It'd be interesting to see, but I would imagine the NRL would have expected better. Yeah,
I thought Friday, Saturday, Sunday was a sellout, but I didn't see it full at any stage during the weekend.
I think probably the most pleasing thing out of the weekend was the ground. Suncorp looked like it held up pretty well. I mean, I watched the last game Sunday night, and the ground still looked pretty good.
Well, Thursday looked like a bit of a sandpit, and I thought, geez, it'll chew up quick, but they've done it. Ground's grounds team have done a good job there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the sour point is all the injuries to come out of the round.
I don't think they can attribute that to the
I don't think so.
surface, though.
I mean,
those contact injuries and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Bird did his ACL, but that had nothing to do with the ground.
What about Latrell Mitchell? Is he out? What was the news on that today? I think
more to come this week, but ideally from a Queensland point of view, he'd be out for about 5 weeks, but
yeah,
I don't like our chances there.
Broncos have picked up Seguiaro too.
Broncos have signed Seguiaro, will play this week against the Roosters. Obviously, McCulloch's out.
I thought the Roosters might have chased him when Jake Friend went down. Obviously, they didn't have any. The sombrero's empty.
I don't think their sombrero gets empty, does it?
I don't know.
But yeah, they'll. Seguiaro's been playing for Newtown, so he trained with the Broncos today, and he'll suit up at hooker. Well, actually, I think he's going to suit up off the bench on Friday night. So
Queensland residents beat the New South Wales residents over the weekend, 42-22.
They did.
Got a bit of the old Bears jersey. Titans not going real well, so I'm getting on the Burley Bears bandwagon this year.
That's just a preview for June the 5th, isn't it? Queensland beat New South Wales.
Yeah, I think plenty have written us off, and I like that. It just plays straight into Queensland's hands.
Well, I watched a bit of the Cowboys game, and Michael Morgan was pretty good for most of that game.
Yep.
Did some good things, and I think he's coming into form. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to be up against it, but that's how we like it.
Big news today, Dylan Walker cleared to play back in the NRL after his court case is wound up. You and I got varying views on this. Seems odd, and I'm not sure we should comment on the legal side of things, but I think hearing Todd Greenberg speak this afternoon is probably the first time I've actually agreed with what he said. It's the NRL's right to be able to stand down a player. He still got paid the whole time. He was able to focus on the court case, and now he's been proven not guilty. I think it's dubious myself. It just the whole thing just seems odd. But, you know, Ben Barber was rubbed out of the game, yeah, admittedly on video footage, but did that even go to the police?
Well, it's a police matter, but you got to remember too, Barber had already had indiscretions prior, and
maybe you can't. Maybe I shouldn't compare the two. I'm not sure.
I mean, the thing that it's not so much a differing point of view. I see what Greenberg said today, and he's saying that their policy worked.
He's saying vindicated.
Yeah,
first cab off the rank, and they've done the right thing.
And I'm not condoning what he did or is alleged to have done, but this guy's name's been dragged through the mud. He's obviously had to sit on the sidelines. It's played through all the media because he is an NRL player, and now it's turned around and he's been found not guilty. That's all that stuff that's been said sticks with him for.
I can tell you there was a very mixed reaction online, particularly because the initial reaction from the NRL was not he's cleared to play because he's not guilty in the court case. It was we'll review the court documents now and decide for ourselves. So there was people blowing up both ways online last night. Some saying that it was BS and that he should still be rubbed out of the game because he's a grub and they didn't prove anything, and other people saying, well, he should never have been stopped playing the game. So it's certainly dividing fans. It just seems like an odd one for me.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously got the Jack DeBellin case ongoing at the moment.
It was his partner it was against his partner.
Dylan Walker was,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the story changed like during the course of the proceedings, and I would say that that's a concerning thing. Did she feel pressured to change her opinion or her story or her facts? That's all I'm going to say.
We may never know.
I don't want to touch it after that.
But as I'm saying, DeBellin, the whole innocent until proven guilty theory that we use in Australia.
Yeah.
The way DeBellin, his name has been, and I'm not saying he's guilty or not guilty, I don't know, but the way his name's been dragged through the media because he is a high-profile NRL player.
Yep.
To me, would err on the side of guilty rather than innocent prior to the court case happening.
Yeah, I get that side of it too, but I'd agree with what Greenberg said this afternoon. When they stand a player down, they're not saying he's guilty or innocent, just that that's why they call it the no-fault policy. They're not saying you're guilty or innocent. They're saying that's what you need to go and focus on. Football's not your priority. You will still get paid. Come back when it's sorted out.
And I agree with that. I guess the part that I'm arguing is the fact that the general public make an assumption based on he's not playing NRL.
Well, I'm a clear case of that because Dylan Walker's, the Australian court system has said he's not guilty, and I'm still like, no, but is he?
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. People make up their mind long before the court case happens, but that's probably, in legal terms, that's probably a reason that it should be suppressed. Maybe he should be stood down, but maybe the media shouldn't give it so much coverage because they're actually, if something's ever got to go to a jury or something, they're going to find it hard to find people that have not had their opinions tainted.
But you're never going to stop the media, are you?
No.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're an NRL player. They're a profile sports person. Stuff like that goes through the media and it spreads in no time.
Yeah. Well, he's back this week. Will he be back this week?
Well, absolutely, and that's what I was about to say. The interesting part is he'll probably be close to first pick this week. I mean, Manly have got so many injuries. He's going to be straight back into the fold and probably one of the first picks. So,
what about the Broncos? They've racked up another win on the weekend.
Yeah, they did. They were obviously desperate for a win, but again, they got Manly at the right time with plenty of injuries. So
it's not exactly back on the road.
I wouldn't say you wouldn't say they're back in form. They've obviously now lost Jack Bird for the year. So not that I think he was going that great, but it's still a pretty big injury.
Yeah, right.
They obviously got the Roosters this week, so we'll see whether they're back in form or not.
Sort them out.
Yeah. But yeah, look.
Who do the Cowboys play? Shouldn't ask questions I don't know the answer.
Who cares?
South.
I know we've got the Dogs Battle of the Spoon this week at Seabus.
I tell you what, if we don't beat the Dogs, give it away. Because do you know what? Dogs fans would be happy at the moment because they weren't expected to win anything, and they're at least putting a fight up to the teams they're playing.
Well, I've got a very good mate who's a very passionate dog supporter in Sydney, and he would disagree.
What do you mean?
He had very high hopes at the start of the year.
For the Dogs?
He is a little bit one-eyed, parochial.
Clearly.
But yeah, look, they're...
no one expected them to play well this year. They had no first-grade troops with the salary dramas and all the players they had to let go.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously going through a bit of a rebuild stage, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected them to be 16th, but...
Yeah, I didn't have them in my top 8.
I'm not... I wouldn't be overly confident in beating them this week. We should, but...
We didn't lose anybody on the weekend?
No.
Do we get anyone back? Team's name tomorrow.
Yeah.
Find out.
And then probably the only other one to touch on there, the NRL, was the Storm. Absolutely belting Parramatta for Juniors Jaffa and also putting Parra back in their box.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. The Craig Bellamy effect, he obviously just blasted him last week, and it just demands excellence. And he was even humble in the post-match press conference, basically said, we got the rub of the green on a few things, and things went our way. Certainly wasn't expecting that scoreline, but I'm happy with the performance. Was still filthy at one of his players for taking the wrong option when they were scoring a try. Didn't pass the inside man or something. But my question is, all the other clubs can see what he demands down there. What's different? Why can't a coach at the Titans demand excellence and it happen? What does he do? What is the difference?
Well, he's just very good at what he does, isn't he? I mean, he's obviously got the players. Well, he's always had the players playing for him. He's always had utmost respect. Or the players have had the utmost respect for him.
Yeah,
they want to play for him. He demands. He's got high demands for them, but he's obviously just very good at what he does. I mean, Alistair Clarkson's is almost identical in the AFL.
Yeah.
For Hawthorn. So
I guess the big difference is if Garth starts dropping blokes, we're bringing guys out of Q Cup that are essentially not first graders, whereas Bellamy just seems to be able to drop a player. The next guy slots in.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say Storm have got an outstanding list.
If I was coaching the Titans this week, Peachy doesn't play.
Yeah, I mean, he made a couple of big mistakes, but I still think you got to have Peach in the side.
Not
But
nice.
but my argument is Bellamy's got, it's not a team of champions. It's a champion team. That's a cliche, but he hasn't got an outstanding list. But he gets it 110% out of every single one of those players.
Insane.
And Bennett's done the same.
When Cameron Smith exits, I'll be interested to see whether they keep it together.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, he's one of the greatest. But
he's changed the hooking role. The hooking roles, I would say, the halfback was always the key position. Has he really changed that in the last 10 years? Like, is the hooker now the most important position? They're really steering the team around the park.
Well, certainly in that side they are and have been.
Yeah.
And Queensland too. I mean, the Origin side for the last 10 or 12 years that he's been in it has relied heavily on him, even with Thurston and Cronk in the halves. But, yeah, I mean,
Cronk on the weekend become the second highest capped player.
Did he?
He went past Lockyer, I'm pretty sure. That's big.
It's a good stat, Red. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Just pluck that one out of the back of the brain.
So anyway, like I said, Juniors Jaffa.
We'll get him on the phone.
Get him on soon, but another win.
You're kidding yourself. We should be at about $1,300 now. We should have $300 to play with for the next bet, and $1,000 for the.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Righto. What about you? All right, here's Big Red on the burst this week. Ablett, grub. I just watched that footage before we went to air. It's late, it's high, and it's deliberate.
It's a whisker late. It's slightly high. Marginally.
He's a koala. He's a protected species.
The guy got straight up, played on. So the obviously the force was not enough to warrant being suspended.
The player passed the ball. The ball goes over past Ablett this way. He steps off his right foot and leads with the elbow. Yeah. It's deliberate.
Play on. They breed him tough in the AFL, Red.
Grub.
But, I mean, so it's interesting. He's never been suspended his whole career, 300 and something games, and now back-to-back weeks he's been in the spotlight. I mean,
and they're saying last week's got no effect.
No bearing on it, no. And that's how it should be. It should be each case should be judged accordingly. But he's already been let off this week anyway. It's the match reviews had a look at it and said there's no case to answer. So he won't be going to the tribunal. The show down Adelaide was a little bit one-sided. The Crows and Port Adelaide. That's always the big game, or twice a year the big show down Adelaide. Adelaide too good for Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide got a lot of injuries, and I think it's starting to take a toll on them now. GWS, absolutely terribly bad on the weekend.
They were saying that was the worst Hawthorn crowd since like 2004 or something.
Well, I didn't hear that. But Jimmy Bartell, ex-Geelong champion, who's on the GWS board, actually came out and said publicly that it was the worst display he's ever seen GWS put in.
Wow.
I think he said of the 22 players, there's only one or maybe two that actually played okay.
Yep.
So they copped a pretty big spray from him and through the media. So it'd be interesting to see how they bounce back. Richmond got up over Fremantle in Perth, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it was. They got a massive injury list as well.
Yep.
They lost another 2 out of this game, so I think that'll catch up with them sooner or later, but I guess it shows the class of them that they can go over there and beat Freo.
What about a bit of, obviously, fierce rivalry, Blues and the Pies? My grandfather was a Carlton fan, and the only bit of paraphernalia he had in his house was an I hate Collingwood fridge magnet. So he didn't have any Carlton gear, but I knew he hated the Pies.
Well, I think
bit of crowd violence there on the weekend.
Yeah, it's a bit of a thing at the moment. I didn't hear too much about it, but obviously following on from last week where there was an incident at the MCG. Look, obviously these grounds all have large numbers of security and police and what have you, but unfortunately, it does happen.
There was less cops attending that crowd violence than there were to throw the guy out at the Wanderers game, the soccer game.
No,
he was trying to get his daughter to the toilet, and cops threw him out because it was through a wrong section.
Well, I think So his story was that he was trying to get his disabled daughter to the toilet.
Yep, and lots of support online for that too.
The police statement or report was that he was actually trying to jump in behind the bar somehow and help himself to a beer. So
Didn't look like that online. I watched the video online. It's just a bloke sitting at the footy with his daughter, and they were crowded around him.
yeah, well, that's again two sides of the story, but
Be interesting to see it. The club has backed their fan. By
Have
the
they?
way. Yep.
just maybe one nice thing to touch on while we're talking AFL. I don't know whether you saw or not, but Jared Ruffhead, who ex-Hawthorn captain, bit of a legend of the game.
I did see that actually.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
He got dropped back to the VFL.
I was going to ask you about that. So,
Yeah.
and he was coaching the guy he was playing against.
Yeah, he was actually. So the guy he was playing against was a bit of a younger guy.
I've butchered this beer.
He was actually giving him some advice. The ball was up the other end, and he was actually giving him some advice on how to play. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Should be more of that.
Yeah. And from all reports, I don't know him, but they say that's Ruffy to a T. Apparently, he's a pretty good bloke. So the other one, I don't know whether you saw this, was in a game in country Victoria or suburban Victoria, just in the amateur league. A toddler actually strolled onto the field and was out on the wing, and the ball came fairly close to the toddler, and one of the players gave up going for the ball to grab the toddler and pick her up and put it back over the fence. So, in all the
Is that a news story, really?
well, in all the doom and gloom that these footballers
What
go
did you
through.
want him to do? Hip and shoulder the toddler and go for the
No,
ball?
but it's a nice.
Should have. No commitment.
Wow. Yeah, she was just trying to get a kick. But no, I was saying in all the stuff that gets said in the negative light for
Yes.
AFL and NRL,
Yeah.
it was a nice touch.
No, that is good. Should we move on?
What about the basketball this morning? Did you see that NBA?
We're not going to cover the cricket? Righto. We'll do the cricket after.
Cricket.
Yeah, righto. There's nothing going on in cricket. Other than the Aussies were going to go to Gallipoli on the way to the World Cup. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Are they?
Yeah. It's just a bit of a, I don't know, something to get their minds in the right spot. I like it.
Well, I think it could be good times for us at the World Cup.
I said that before we went on. I got a feeling they're going to come back with a trophy.
And I think
Bit of adversity.
I think Warner and Smith look like they've slotted back in. Okay, they're both in fairly good form. Looks like they've slotted back into that team environment. Okay, so.
Just a little memo to Cricket Australia. DI wants food at the venue next time at the Allan Border Field. Didn't like having to leave the field to go and get something to eat for the kids.
Yeah, it's
IPL wrapped up too.
It did, yeah. IPL came down to a last ball game.
Watson go out in a blaze of glory.
He actually he scored quite a few runs, 68 I think it was.
Yeah,
But
fell short.
Got run out I think on the third last delivery.
Yeah,
they were chasing 8 off the last over when he went for a single and got run out.
for a bloke that copped a lot of shit, went back in Australia. He's really been a top performer in that short form, hasn't he?
Absolutely. Has he done very well over there?
To come back to your point, Kawhi Leonard in the NBA. Yes, I did see a highlight of that this afternoon while we were prepping for the show. Absolute clutch play. Bounces off the rim about half a dozen times and then drops in after the hooter.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was from the side, just inside the 3-point line. It wasn't.
I thought it was a 3-pointer when
It
he
did
threw
look
it.
like a
It's not.
3, but no, it was just inside from the sideline. Hit the ring his side, bounced across to the ring the other side, and then went back in the middle. So
It was nice.
0.04 seconds left. The game was tied. So Toronto knocked out Philly 92-90.
Is anyone going to get close to the Warriors, but
Oh, it's hard to see.
who are the Warriors got now in the West?
Yeah,
We should have covered that.
don't know, but yeah, they do look head and shoulders above.
I watched, must have been Rockets, Warriors Rockets game 6, I think, on the weekend.
Yeah.
They had no Durant, and they still got the job done.
Yeah, I mean they are a very, very, very good team. It's only injuries that it's going to stop them now, I think.
Oh, Steph Curry's got a broken finger or something too. Bit sore.
Yeah,
Bogut
I think
on his way to another title.
Yeah, just looped in halfway and
Hope he
pick up
does.
one. You'll see some interesting. I think maybe an announcement with Ben Simmons in the next couple of weeks about his contract.
Really?
From all reports, he's been offered $158 million US over 5 years.
Is he up for negotiation?
So Philly are going to offer him a new deal to try and keep him away from free agency.
As if he's not going to the Lakers with LeBron. When is his contract up?
I don't know the exact terms of it, but I know that they've penciled him or offered him $158 million over 5 years to lock him down.
Tough. It's a tough gig.
And then on the back of that, there's other bonuses and incentives that go with that. So it's big money. I think the big question for him is will he front up for the Boomers in the World Cup this year?
Hope so.
All the other NBA placed Australian players have all committed. So Ingles, Bogut,
Dellavedova,
Curry, not Curry. What's the guy that plays for San Antonio?
Yeah, Paddy Mills.
Yeah. They've all committed to the Boomers. So I think it reads as though he probably will, but the announcement will probably come in the next month or so. So
if he's open to negotiate, I can't see him not going to lock one of the big teams. Him and LeBron are pretty tight, and imagine him and just feeding assists to the big man. That'd be good.
Would be good.
I'd pay money to see that.
Would be good.
I'd buy a Lakers jersey, I reckon, if that happened.
Bandwagon.
I was trying to get a hold of Liverpool jersey actually for this week. I'm getting on that soccer bandwagon before it goes viral. I reckon that game could kick off.
It's got potential.
Yeah.
I
definitely got a bit of goosebumps last week. I was on the way to Brizzy listening to one of those sports radio shows, and they had they crossed live to those guys beating Barcelona, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was.
You'll never walk alone. Hopefully, we'll get a diehard Liverpool fan on the show that can actually talk soccer soon.
Well, Coomera Aqua had another win on the weekend, just when we're talking soccer.
Apparently, that's good. I think the Palm Beach under-6s demolished Tally Tigers too on the weekend.
They're going good.
Coach, Horseful, struggling.
What about Juniors Jaffa? Should we give
we should
Junior
get him
a
on the phone. We told him we're going to ring him.
5 in a row for Junior.
You're unbelievable. So while we're getting Junior on the phone, what we're going to do is there's been 2 clubs nominated for the next payout. Well, the first payout because you've cooked it. So we're going to have the North Burleigh Nippers go head to head with the Robina Braves in an online poll. The winning club this time next week. So we'll say as of 5:30 next week, 5:30 Monday afternoon. The winning club will be the first recipient of Juniors Jaffa, no matter how long it takes us to get there.
I like it. Could take us a while.
It could. Righto. We're dialing.
And we'll donate 1,000 to the club.
That's right. So it'll once it gets to 1,000, if it goes over, it'll be we'll bank some for the next bet.
Hi boys.
Junior.
How you going?
We're just explaining the rules for the Jaffa. So what we're going to do is there's 2 clubs that have been tagged online this week, and it's the North Burleigh Nippers and the Robina Braves Baseball Club. So they're going to go head to head in an online poll this week online, and the winning club at 5:30 next Monday afternoon. So what will that be? Monday what's the date today?
Be the 19th.
Monday the 19th. Will be the next in line
20th.
to get Juniors Jaffa's $1,000 payout, no matter how long it takes us to get there. So,
funny enough, we should have already been there.
We
Junior.
should be there. So we should be giving the club 1,000 tonight, and still have 200 or 300 to play with. So you are absolutely on fire, mate. I doubted you last week. I've got to apologise.
No,
I thought
Many do.
the Storm, they were shaky, and they've just come out and absolutely demolished the Eels. And I'm going, why don't we go 13 plus?
5 in a row, Junior.
I know. It's I wouldn't say. It's unheard of.
I've got people contacting me going, who's this Junior bloke? What's his credentials? How good's he going?
He has got no credentials.
I wish I had got on board at the start. That's obviously top secret.
I've just looked, boys, of running through the tips. If our mate there, the fat bloke, didn't make that mistake,
You're going to have to be more specific.
We're both fat.
Dylan, fat number 1. Dillsy. We'd be sitting at $1,350.
Rub it in.
But anyway, that's right. Don't remember that.
Rub it in.
And but that's okay. We're having fun.
We'll get back up there again,
Back
Junior.
and winners.
Where are we
will.
actually at? What did we get on the weekend? So we went from 100 to
190.
190. Okay,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yep. So that's that was good. Yeah. You're right. We should have gone 13 plus. That was a
big win.
Smashing.
Was a big win.
That was crazy.
What about this week, Junior? Have you done
what do you got for us?
some homework?
Yeah, we went hunting and we found a couple actually. I thought, you know what, we might as well just get this money up as quickly as possible. And
We've got some ground to pick up.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to go a little 2-leg multi again, like we did, I think, in week 3. I think we were there. And found a little bit of value. So in the NRL, on Saturday, you got the Raiders versus the Rabbitohs. The line is nothing. So the -2.5 line on the Rabbitohs at $1.90. So I thought that line was pretty.
Where are they playing, Junior?
Favourable. They're in Canberra, but Canberra, an injury out of.
I'm glad it's your money.
And
don't doubt him, Red.
No, I'll do it every week. That's $1. Yeah.
And I think, from looking back, I think the Rabbitohs are pretty fit. They had a good run on. I was there actually yesterday at the game when they played the Cowboys, and so that's good. So we're going to roll the Rabbitohs -2.5 into the Crows again. I think that's might be the third time we've
good one, Junior.
Crows holding Adelaide. So the Crows head to head against the Lions on Saturday night. The Crows are outsiders at $2.05.
Big odds.
Which I thought was huge overs for the Crows. I think last time they played, it was a relatively close one, but the time before that, I think they dusted it by 60 or something like that.
So where's this one?
This is in
it's
Brisbane.
Gabba.
Lions.
Yeah, I agree, Jaffa. I think the Crows are coming into a bit of form.
Yeah, yep. The win against Port.
They did beat Port,
good. So, get up to the Gabba, and I think, at $2.05 was, I had a look around.
That's
I think
juicy.
That's good.
So what does that give us in combination?
So in combination, you get $3.80. But
Ooh,
I think it depends on who our betting agency of choice is. We might boost that up, and it'd probably take you to about $4 if you boost it.
Could be get us close to the 1,000 this week.
Yeah, and I reckon they're two pretty good bets.
I'll set myself a reminder to get that one on for you, Junior, correctly.
That'd be nice. I'll even send you a message.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Let's just throw in a little hashtag gamble responsibly. We don't want people betting with money that they don't have, but this is really exciting. We're getting a good following for it, so I like it. I like the big odds too. This $1.70, $1.30 stuff doesn't really get me going.
If you're gambling with money you don't have, make sure it wins. That's my philosophy.
Okay.
He's good at that.
So I'm cheering for the Rabbitohs into the Crows on the weekend.
That's right.
We don't want to throw in like a Sam Burgess to score at any time, like just to really jack the odds up, or.
I was going silly, but I thought, no, we better not, because my luck, we'd go someone like that scored in 20 tries already, and he'll go trial.
Yeah, no, I like that one, Junior.
That's a tough Raiders.
Yeah, they've got a few injuries.
That's all good. It's your money anyway.
I think Rapana's out this week.
Yeah, he is. Rapana's out, and I think the Rabbitohs got through.
Hang on, is it Saturday afternoon, is it?
Saturday night.
It's a bit fresh.
Yeah, a bit fresh in the capital.
Fresh,
but
yeah.
I think the Rabbitohs are going pretty good.
Yeah.
I think so. And that line, that's, with that line, I didn't think.
It's not much of a line, is it?
2.5.
And I think Canberra were lucky to get to where they did against the Roosters on the weekend. They fought back pretty well, but
the Roosters had a heap out too during the game.
Yeah.
While we're talking about punting, I'll get a bit of banter out of Junior. Do you think it's right that someone like Paul Gallen gets to take the last kick in a game when potentially there's a whole lot of money riding on that game? Like, imagine if you'd bet on that game and the points differential
But it was right in front. You could have kicked it over.
Easy.
I thought of that, though. Actually, when they gave him that kick, I thought of that. Imagine if you're sweating on a margin or something like that, and your Gallen toe pokes one and misses it. You'd be pretty filthy.
Definitely came up on the job sites this week. I'm just letting you know. Just telling you.
Yeah. Because if he misses it, I reckon there'd be a few blokes. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the hold on each game is in the NRL. I wouldn't have a clue, but you got to think it's pretty substantial money on each game.
Yeah, I mean, I think they obviously only gave it to him because it was right in front of the post.
Yeah, it's always happened. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying it's interesting when big money gambling starts to, I would hate to see Juniors Jaffa ruined by a ballsed up conversion kick.
Well, it's like, in the NBA, if a game's well and truly done and dusted, with 30 seconds left, they just hold the ball and let the clock run down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, same thing. If you've got 13 plus and they're up by 12, and they've just shut up shop with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, I get you. Oh well.
I think it's just luck of the draw.
I just don't want to see Sam Burgess kicking when it's a 2.5 line. I don't want to see Sam Burgess kicking at the end of the game to close it out.
No, we'll be right. We'll get that one home.
Righto. All right.
Good on you, Junior.
Thank you. We'll talk to you this time next week.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Bye.
There we go.
That's good. Well, you got to go, and I've got to get inside because big episode of Game of Thrones coming up tonight. But a couple more things we got to cover off just before we do. F1, my boy. I don't know. To be honest,
Ricardo.
I couldn't keep my eyes open last night. I was fading, but he started 12th or 13th, finished 12th. He had better expectations for that because he actually qualified all right, and but he took a 3-grid penalty because of an indiscretion from the previous week. But disappointing still.
It's just one of those years for him, isn't it?
Ferrari struggling too though. So Max finished 3rd, and Hamilton, Bottas, they're just dominating.
Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes killing it. Yep.
Well, that's been pretty much the story of every race, hasn't it?
Pretty much those two backwards and forwards. Yeah. Hamilton back in the lead of the championship now.
Yeah.
Watch him pin his ears back. They won't catch him. It's early. That's an early call in May. Next round, Monaco, I think, which is awesome place. I went there a couple of years ago. It is unbelievable. I love staying up and watching that every year. It's magic.
Yeah.
Rugby. The Israel Folau circus just continues on.
Drags on.
We obviously ballsed up last week when we went to air. There was one story, and by the time we finished recording, it was the story had changed. But it continues to develop in that his fellow Christian players are now supporting him and said, if you rub him out, you might as well sack us as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be obviously a World Cup year this year.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's going to be interesting when it all finishes as to exactly the makeup of the team. And
we've said a number of weeks now that we probably agree that he's in the wrong, but is he in the wrong so bad that they, that they can actually sack him?
I mean, the reality is like you say, whatever happens to Folau, but there's guys in the Wallaby side now saying they won't play with him.
There's guys in the side saying they won't play with him, but there's also now guys saying, well, if he gets rubbed out, we're gone.
So clearly you can see a divide going through the Wallabies camp.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting issue when it completely wraps up. But that just about does my notes for the weekend.
The only thing, one more thing before we close it out, the golf, the USPGA this week. So the second major, starting Friday Australian time. Bethpage Black, so it's actually a public golf course that they'll play this major on.
Do we get the boys to ring in and give us a sort of a reading on the course? Like, how's it playing?
No, we haven't, but no, it should be good. We've got quite a strong Australian lineup. All the regulars plus a couple of club pros that actually get an invite into this tournament.
Yeah, right.
Out of America, well, Australians that live in America, but just out of this morning, defending champ, the defending USPGA champ, Brooks Koepka finished 3rd this week, so he's obviously going in with some good form. And worth noting that Tiger won a US Open on this same golf course, I think 2002 maybe.
Right.
So
is that your tip?
No, it's not a tip.
No,
but look for him.
I'm writing it down just so we can reference it next week.
No, but look for him to. He obviously hasn't played a heap since the Masters, but in fact, I'm not sure what his last event was. But be interesting to see. He's obviously on a golf course that he enjoys.
In that green jacket.
Probably hasn't taken the jacket off. Why would you? But yeah, so big week in golf. We'll touch on it next week with some bit of a recap. But should be. It's normally the later in the year, but they've brought it forward with the new calendars.
Yeah, cool.
Of golf, so it's now the second major of the year.
Good stuff. Well,
That wraps it.
So who are you tipping though?
I don't have a tip. Very hard to tip in the golf.
Aussies looking good.
I mean, the normal three: Day, Scott, Leishman, all obviously all a chance in any of that time they teed up in a tournament like that. From the Aussies, I'd probably go. Well, I mean, Day's playing fairly well. Scotty's having a good year. And Leishman obviously always turns up for the big one, so
Yep.
be any one of those three for top Aussies.
All right, mate. Well, are we going to see you back on the beers next week? How long is this going to
We've
last?
got another couple of weeks.
You know what they say about blokes that drink on their own, so you're going to have to help me out.
Hasn't stopped you.
Hopefully Timmy's back next week. Righto, thank you, folks. Juniors, don't forget Juniors Jaffa, the online poll. Get behind your local sporting club, and hopefully soon we'll have some money to give to the kids. And you can find us on all the socials at Beers and Banter, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can
Follow, share.
Yeah, please share.
Like.
It really helps our reach when you share the show. So please do so. Find us on the podcast app. You can find us on Spotify, and you can find us on YouTube.
Have a good week.
Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
See you, mate.
Cheers.